All right, good day, everyone. My name is Emmanuel Babatunde Adebola, and it's a privilege to host this very important session where I get to speak with people who originated from my home country in Nigeria, but who are blazing the trail in different walks of life. On one hand, I have a man called SACO, who will tell us the full meaning of what SACO is, because SACO is not his name per se, but he's a comedian amongst many other things. One thing I like about Sako is that he has made up his mind that his comedy will be clean. So he prides himself in that, and he's doing very, very well. On the other hand, I have a lady called Funmi Afolarin. Funmi Afolarin is an accomplished gospel artist who hails from Nigeria, and that's where she lives today. And we're going to be talking about different things, just sharing life. But particularly, we'll be focusing on a concept that is becoming more popular in the country of Nigeria, which is called Japa. It's something that almost every section you go, it's become a popular term. And Japa, even though maybe Sako and Fumi will be able to start by telling us their own understanding of what it means. But my understanding is Japa is just a concept that is born out of somebody who's frustrated with the economic situation that is not moving him or her forward and decides that, look, I'm going to seek greener pastures in whatever shape or form. That's my own interpretation. I may be wrong, but hopefully they will educate us. So please let me hand over the opportunity. Sako, can we get to meet you? And then please tell us your own understanding of what Japa is.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be on this platform to share and speak with you and seeing you live after almost 5 years that we haven't spoken like this. And so I'm excited to be on this platform. First, my name is Sako SSCO. Sako is my initials. My first name is Sunday Ayodele Chukamadu Okundalaye. So I'm partly Ondo, partly Delta. I speak Yoruba, I speak Igbo, and I speak English, obviously, and I speak in tongues also. I don't. Okay, and so I'm a stand-up comedian, a compere, a mentor. That for me is something that I'm more passionate about. Anything I've accomplished in life, helping people gain relevance and understand their calling in any field, that especially in the entertainment industry. And that's where I am. I've been privileged to be doing this for 17 years professionally, and it's my passion that God has blessed me. And I see that God can use me to be a more blessings to a lot of guys. Talking about blazing the trail, I have a tribe called the Trailblazers, where God is using us to start things and things that had never been done before in our families, and not only our families, as reference points. I used to be that guy that nobody wanted to speak with. I used to be the guy that the parents would say, you cannot speak to this guy. And today I'm now a reference point. I'm grateful to God for helping me find purpose. I'm still finding purpose, but at least I am not where I used to be. So for Japa, you've explained, you made Japa very easy. Japa is, I just want to leave the country. I just want to leave this country because they do not even understand what the economy is saying. But I learned a long time ago whether the economy is nice or it's not nice, I know the purpose that God has for me. And I've always believed that anywhere, any country I want to go to, I have access to it. And as I speak it, it happens. I by the grace of God, I've been to about 10 to 12 countries, and I've always believed that there's no country. I've only been rejected visa twice, which is the US Embassy, and because I was misinformed. That after that time, it doesn't happen again. And I didn't have this mindset a few years ago. I had the mindset based on the teachings from the likes of Reverend Samadeh. I mean that if it can come to your mind, it can come to your hand. I learned that from DLE, Data Leadership Academy. I learned that from mentors around me to see possibilities. Because for me, once I see these things happening in the lives of people, it can happen in my life. Yeah. And yeah, so Japa is people just, and you'll be shocked. You know, a sister of mine reached out to me from fellowship. We're back in the fellowship, and she said, in fact, what she said to me made me almost, sob. I said, Sako, I want to leave this country, even if I have to be an house help in the UK. When she said that, she said, even if I have to, she's married, she has a daughter, and she says, even if I have to be an house help, I don't know if she's going to see this eventually, but for me, I felt so odd. I've been trying to see how I can help her. But I have to see, she's gotten to that page where she's so frustrated. She went ahead to say, even if I have to be house, in fact, Yes, she wants to be an health worker, but she made that. Then I said, how said that you couldn't, accept in Nigeria, and now you're ready to be an outstep in the UK. So Japa is something that people are moving. I've been traveling since May, Turkey, London, Canada, and every time I'm traveling, there are new persons traveling. In fact, the last one, we're recording this video now, November 3rd. The last time I traveled to Canada was September 17th. Or September 14th. The lady that was traveling with me, that was seated by my side, had never traveled before. I'd never gone by air before. She didn't even know how to put on the seatbelt.
Wow.
She was so humble enough to say, Egbon, I don't know how to put on the seatbelt, and I helped her. So I could just see the joy when she got to Toronto. Toronto, they say it's Toronto. They say it's Toronto. It was when I got here, I found out that it was Toronto. So I'm joining there. I found out that Ottawa is not Ottawa, it's Orawa. I'm so happy for them. I don't know why the two T is silent, but I'm happy for them, And I just imagine myself. It's information. You must understand, that you are bigger than the country where you belong.
That's right.
You are bigger. You're created for a purpose. I didn't know all these things before, but thank God for information and thank God for seeing possibilities. So I just stop here and then, so Japa is I just want to leave. In fact, the volume of people at which people are getting their international passport now, their Nigerian passport, everybody. Before you could go to Abeokuta, in Ogun State in Nigeria and get your passport that day.
Yeah.
Now, you have to go with appointment. Wow. Every state they are making the passport acquisition very, very scarce so that you can pay more.
Yeah.
So I'll just calm down. I have a lot of things to say, but I'll just allow Our Excellency from Afolarin to say something.
So, question before we move on. So, have you jackpot? Oh, yeah, still.
I've not jackpot. Okay, so I've not jackpot. Yes, my wife came into Canada as a social worker, as a master's in social work, and then it covers the family, it covers also enter Canada anytime. I have my visa valid 2026. It allows the children to go to school. So it was a decision that I got jackpot. And even if I'm going to, which I'm not going to use the word jackpot, I'm going to reposition, because there's one difference between jackpot, which is moving out, and repositioning yourself.
Yes.
There are a lot of things that I don't get access to in Nigeria, but in this place I can get access to. There's some courses that cannot even enter some companies from Nigeria, because some part of Nigeria, in fact, some companies put Nigeria on blacklist to say, you know what, we don't want anything to come from this place. So I've seen opportunity. So I've not jackpot yet. I've not moved yet, and I will never accept the word jackpot. To say I want to get into any country any day, anytime, to say, you know what, I'm here in Canada for 8 days. Who does that? Mm-hmm. I'm in London for 5 days. I'm in London for 4 days. People do. I go in, if I have my way, I go in 2 days, because there are jobs. I have work. I have jobs in Nigeria.
Man on a mission. You are not jackpot yet. Do you remember?
No, I'm not. No, because there are tons of millions of naira in Nigeria that God helps me to make. So, but I know we're all denomination. Yeah.
The accent is changing with your Canadian, because
it's changing because my children speak. So when they speak it, in fact, you don't look at it. We did not go to school. So I got a help. I say help. So I have to speak it, Yeah.
Okay, let's talk to Funmi. Let's get to Bridget, please.
Okay. Good day, sir. Good day, Mr. SACO. It's good to be here. It's an honor to be speaking with you on this platform. Thank you, Mr. Debola Emmanuel, for having us. I'm so privileged. It's been a journey with you for the past 7 years, I think. For the past 7, I've known you for more than 7 years though, but actively working with you and to have had this level of.
Yeah, you're right.
So it's been a journey. So Okay, so this is Funmi Afolarin. Funmi Afolarin is a worship leader, a songwriter with over 20 years of leading worship, leading people in worship, mainly to
Okay.
permeate the heart of people through worship. And of course, the essence of our worship experience is for people to lay hold on their inheritance in God. I believe strongly that the presence of God should not leave people the same way.
Yes.
When you encounter God, when you experience God in a place of praise and worship, intense praise and worship, your life should not remain the same. Your experience should be something that people talk about, that of a truth, this person has been with God. So, and of course, I have the career aspect of my life, of my journey, which is admin and HR professional. And I've been doing this for over 15 years as well. So, of course, 15 years of experience in supporting day-to-day operational functions to provide smooth running business and achieving project goals. So there are so many projects that we do in Daystar. I've been in Daystar for quite a while. So many week in, week out, we run events. Like I tell people that Daystar is an event management company. So we run events every week, and so we just have to ensure that excellence is not compromised in any way. So that's what I've done with myself, with my life in the last couple of years. Okay, so Japa, what is Japa? I've actually been thinking about, I didn't even realize what the word Japa is until in 2016. I happened to be in America for about 3 weeks. So when I got to the immigration, I was told to, of course, my details, they had my details, and they asked me how long I was going to stay in the US. And I said 3 weeks. It didn't occur to me that people actually leave. They claim to go to go to places like that for a short time. They claim to go for a short time, and of course, they take off from there.
Yeah.
So I was to minister in a few churches, and the person that gave me the contact, he was reluctant to give me that contact. A very renowned, popular pastor in Nigeria. So it was like, for me, I'll give you contact of some of our pastors. Is a Redeemed Church. I'll give some contacts of some of our pastors for you to have for you to go worship with them. So, but he said, I'm doing this because I know that you're a woman of integrity. And I asked why, and he said because he stopped doing this long ago. He said people have
abused
to the US on the platform of we are accompanying our pastor, and then where you have about 15 pastors on that trip, only 1 or 2 will return to Nigeria.
Wow.
So that became an integrity issue. So it was like, are you sure you're going to come back? I said, I don't intend to stay in the US for now. He was asking me, he was reluctant. I said, no, that I'll definitely come back to Nigeria. That I just have about 2 or 3 weeks to spend in the US. I was actually going for a training. That in no time I'll be back in Nigeria because I have a job here. I was trying to explain to him that I was comfortable and, everything was fine. So there was no reason for me to leave or to run away. To run away was my line, then. So when I got to the US, I realized that people were throwing all sort of things at me, mainly because, of course, they knew that I lost my husband some years back. So they were like, you don't have a reason to return back to Nigeria. I said, I have a reason to go back to Nigeria because I have my children in Nigeria. I told them at the immigration that I have just a few weeks to spend in America. So I returned back with a colleague. I returned back to Nigeria. And then in 2019, this time around, I had no excuse because I went with my children. So we were on that trip together. And then the suggestions came again that, okay, so now that you are here with your children, you have every reason to stay. I said, I don't have every reason to stay. I didn't tell them in my organization that I was leaving. I told them that I was on vacation and I was going to spend only 3 weeks. And then in no time, I should be back in Nigeria. So, and then it was then I knew what people were actually doing. And this was 2019 anyway.
Yeah, before COVID.
Fast forward, 2020, I saw that there was a massive exodus. People were moving. And I was like, oh, before now, we all know that people move, people migrate, people change location. Of course, Pastor Sam used to tell us back then that there is no security in any location. If war break, if anything happens in Nigeria now, you moving to another country is not guaranteed that you are protected. So you have to be led. You have to be sure that God, has a purpose for you in another country, in another location.
Yep.
So I've always held on to that, So the exodus became very massive in 2021, last year precisely. So I was wondering that is something wrong with me. So, family members were now calling and like, you'll be sitting on God said, God said, God said. Now, what is God saying? And clearly I had a revelation that, see, God didn't want me to move. God didn't want me to stay. If I was going to stay, that wasn't the right channel, because you must have lied to them at immigration that this is what you were going to do, and then you're doing something else.
Yes.
So, and then everyone keeps moving. Why are you moving? I can't stay in this country anymore.
I just want to move.
So, on what platform? On what ground? On what? Just let us know. How are you going? And then I realized that the amount people even make or use to make this move is not small money. Now dollar is 800. People, the desperation is just I don't know how to explain it, but Japa simply means that I just want to move. I don't care who I'm even living with. I don't care. I know of a few people, that they left Nigeria, even with their children, with their family. And I wonder, I was in the US for about 3 weeks, and the agitation to come back home was there because I had my children here. So how people are even living with their families, some people don't even care about their marriages anymore. They just want to leave. They just want to leave. That's Japa. It's a syndrome in Nigeria currently.
Thank you very much. I think in order to understand, because I like your story, you're a person of integrity, and I thank God for your life. And I thank God that God has helped you to maintain your composure even under such severe circumstances. But in order to explain the Japa syndrome, I think I personally will be very slow to criticize people, because I know one thing by my experience. You will know this because the church that you attend is what I attended at some point, Destined Christian Center. And one of the things that we were taught is a reference to Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Abraham Maslow's hierarchy of needs helps you to understand why people behave the way they do. There are 5 levels. At the lowest level is a level called physiological needs. That's where things as air, water, food, things that a lot of people take for granted, when those things are questionable. Nobody cares. The people at that level, they don't care about the message. All they want is, I want to survive. That's perhaps the most difficult place to be as a human being. And so when you operate at that level, it's not as if you don't know the rules, but let me first survive. When we have survived, then we'll talk about other things. What I find is that a lot of people are operating at this level, and that's why they behave the way. When you hear a mother telling her daughter that, look, go and do prostitution, just make money for us, that has gone beyond common sense. That tells you that that person is operating at a desperate level, and that's where a lot of people are. The next level is where you call safety needs, where what becomes important is security, employment. Maybe you are out of job, and so some people, you need a job, you need a serious job. But what I find out is that the fundamental, which I talked about earlier, is the main thing. Where, when I was in Nigeria, I was away from Nigeria for 5 years. I went to Nigeria in July of this year, 2022. I was shocked to find out the rate at which prices have gone up. Ordinary bread, a loaf of bread, 800 naira. 800 what?
It's 1,000. I think it's 1,000 now.
It's 1,000 now.
It's 1,000, yes, depending on the one that you want, depending. So there are a lot of breadwinners right now coming out, bringing out bread. Yeah. So if you buy bread, that's a breadwinner. Yeah.
And you had Funmi say that the exchange of the US dollar to the naira is about 800. Can you imagine?
800 as our last week.
So you can imagine the pressure that comes from somebody who was earning, or maybe somebody who even say, okay, I want to even try, I'm not going, I'm old, let me send my children to outside the country. And now they have to deal with things around exchange rates and stuff. So that's another level. The next level, so I will just come for whoever is saying about the love and belonging, where, friendship, those are the things that drive you, family, then the next level is esteem, somebody who is status. I want to be recognized. I want to be, so they are different. Then the best level, of course, is self-actualization, where you are living up for what you get, for what you give. I just wanted to go through the inside, but I find a majority of people live in levels 1, physiological needs and and safety. So because many people are at that level, it's very easy to understand why they behave the way they are. For me, the reason why you're able to talk and do is what SACO said earlier: information. You know better.
Yes.
Information, a lot of people don't know it, even in church. Why? Because one thing that's, looking back at my time in this, because I was also in this Christian Center for 15 years. One of the things this Christian Center did for me was, it helped me to balance the spirituality and the use of your head. In fact, the funny thing is that not long ago, precisely 2 Sundays ago, I was at the men's program here in Canada, where Reverend Sam Adeyemi came around and he ministered, and he talked about those 2 things: the ability to use your head, knowledge, and the spirit. He called it the, he used the reference, the way he said, to the Jews seek a sign, but it's something about the power and the 2 things. Anyway, let's just summarize. That is what makes the difference. The day I gave my life to Christ, the first prayer I prayed was, God, as I'm going home now, let me have an accident and die. Because as far as I was, because you see, my own story is that I was born into a Christian family. I was raised, and I jackpot from God's kingdom for a while. I was so religious that when I entered university in 1992, I told God, Joe, let me discover myself a while. Let me also, this Christian church, because I went to children's choir, I went to all those things. And I said to God, I said, when I'm done, I'll be back. Those were my exact words. But what I found out as I entered the university, the more I did, the more the expectation was increased. Don't do this. Then when it got to cultism, come and enter, I said, no, I've reached my limit. So God mercifully brought me back. So my salvation was like God escaped. You know, when you bring somebody out of fire, and I really meant those, I said, God, as I'm going, let me have an answer, because I know if I die now, I'm going to heaven, but I cannot sustain this life. And because I didn't know a lot of things then, but God brought me through experiences. So I'm just going back to the information that we have access. I'm grateful to God for the way He has ordered my steps to hear the things that the 2 of you have heard. Look at SACO saying he goes to a place for just 8 days. Because it's unfathomable. Some people, once they lock in completely. They only know the way in, they don't know the way out anymore. But by God's grace, you are able to do more. You are operating at a higher level. You put your value not on the environment, but on yourself. You continue to develop yourself. So you realize you're an answer to the problems. You're not begging for food, begging for this. And you can now decide to live wherever you want. You're a citizen. You become a global citizen. That's information. And that's what has helped us. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have it. So unfortunately, I will let either of you just talk about it. So I don't monopolize, but I just say information is what is common about the 3 of us. And I thank God for common origin.
And I must add to you that you'll be shocked that even in the Christendom, you still, I was in America in 2016 and also 2018. 2016, the pastor was telling me to stay back. I was in Dallas for an event, and the pastor was saying, what are you going to Nigeria to do? I said, God hasn't spoken to me. First, why I knew that God had never spoken to me, I just bought a house then. Yeah. And this is a house that I've been trusting God for. I now bought the house. I've not even moved in with my family. And now God is now speaking. Hello, my wife. God, don't whine me. I told the man there, I was in America for, I think it was 2 weeks also. I got there October. I left November 12th. So I said, SACO, stay. I said, I knew, and I'll be frank with you. I believe that everywhere I go, I find favor. I know. There's nowhere I go to, I don't find the favor of God. God is always a merciful God. If I stayed back in America in 2016, I'm sure by now I've gotten my American passport, obviously, because I know the grace, I know the grace that I carry. I know how God make things easy. But for me, at time I just said no. Let me come and enjoy the house that I've been trusting. I've been trusting God for that house since 2013, and I got the house 2016. Came to America for 2 weeks. You're now saying SACO stay back. I'm not going to stay back. So even in the Christendom, you'll be shocked that people also they had different things. So we had option in 2018. My family and I went. We had option of people were suggesting to us that is either me, I can decide to marry somebody in America, or my wife marries somebody, and then we pay $10,000. Yes, we'll pay 10. Yes, they do it, and I'm not saying this to people that have done it and say that I said I was not going to do it. Especially, I'm an Igbo guy. I'm an Igbo Yoruba guy. So in my mind, I calculated $10,000 lorry passport. It wasn't worth it. I make that by the grace of God. So I just felt it's a decision. It's a personal. Like I said, it's information. The information that I had before I went to America changed. If it was before, I would have bought it. I would have bought into it. And I'm not criticizing those that did, but you'll be shocked that you get that. The other option is from America to the border of Toronto. All you don't need to do is seek asylum. There are different ways. We learn to school. There are 3 major.
Kawasaki.
Yes, Kawasaki. Yes, raise your hands up and bring up stories. Either you say you are bisexual, or you are this. You just bring different just to move out. Yeah. And once you start a lie, you must be consistent with your lie.
Exactly.
So I get into it, but you must be consistent with your lie. I get into any border. What are you here for? I'm here on vacation. I'm here to enjoy myself. I'm here to, I'm here to see my wife. I'm here to, I want to get to any border, and I'm not scared because I don't want, So for me, it's information. All right. When you have the right information, you'll be shocked. You can go look at me now. I got into data in 2010. I didn't have this mindset. But you cannot sit under the teachings in this now and not your there will be something that will change around you. It must change. I share with my trailblazers. I said, guys, there's no country. And when we're sharing it, when I'm sharing with them, they look like, bro, what is this bro saying? Is it that when my mentor was talking about UK in 2010, in my mind I'm saying UK, London. It looked very far. Until I went to London in 2012. And then I carried my wife. We went for honeymoon. I carried my mother, and I carried my children. And now I can enter London anytime I want to go. I can enter any part of the UK. It's information. So it's frustrating. Some people do not have that. That's why they are struggling. There's a lot of struggle. I know that our leaders have not represented well, but if you have the right information, man, you won't jeopardize your position.
Yeah, let me let Funmi talk because I want to talk about still of that information. I think there's something I need to drill down. Funmi, did you want to raise anything, or do you want me to? Is there anything you want to add?
I think he said it all because people have information, but then financing that information is also a big deal. So what I've been thinking about is that sometimes you don't even know how people are getting this. They cannot pay permission.
Yeah, for me, for whatever reason, I think there's a network challenge that is.
Can't even afford. They are owing everywhere, and then you're wondering that, hey, what's going on? So the desperation we need to. Okay, sir, can you hear me now?
Hey, now continue. Yeah.
So I'm saying that people have information, and that information comes with a lot of money. It comes with a lot of, some people have approached various finance companies to be able to make this move. And then when they do that, well, you know that they cannot afford it. Some people can afford it and it has worked for them. I know a lot of people that cannot even afford it. And yet you hear that this person is moving. I mean, I'm in an environment where a lot of people have moved. And you know that of a truth. it's not chicken change for them to make that move. So I'm just wondering, and I'm just concerned that how do people finance this thing, and how do they, how are people paying back? I don't know. People have a lot of mechanism in place for them to be able to put, to sort that out. But then it's not small, and then dollar is not smiling. So I don't know. I'm just a bit. I'm concerned. I want to know, because knowing is part of the information that that I want to get. On this call.
Yeah, I want to quickly say now it's a market moving out of the country. Now is now a market that has been created. So we have finance companies that will tell you we can put money in your account, but you pay 5% or 3% every month that the money will be in the account. So for people that want to go as students, UK has made, before you have to print out 6 months account statement, but now all you just need to do is print out 1 month account statement that the money is in the account. So you see that they reach out to people and they put money, or people that they know, especially most of them, they do a lot of coded, they do a lot of silence. That's why I see a lot of people move. You see them in church on a Sunday morning, you'll be shocked that Sunday night they are leaving. Once you see that they have made the long hair, is it that once you take long hair, is it that long you're going to London, but if you take short hair, you're going to Canada? It's crazy. So people are very secretive. In fact, you'll be shocked. One of the greatest shock of my life was our family friend that were very close. This person picks my children, I pick their children, and I've shared this story so many times. They live in Canada right now, but the way they left, it was as if they came to drop. In fact, this person came to drop soup in my house a night before, and they said we're going out of Lagos. Because I don't know when I go to see this video.
Lagos.
They said they were going. In fact, I will mention the place. They said they were going to Delta State to see her father with the family. And my wife was worried. This was around December. My wife was worried that she hasn't heard from them. She was calling her number, call, it wasn't going. But she was responding on WhatsApp. I said, oh, there's no network. Not knowing this person was in Canada, was in the Otika was okay.
Yes, so.
And Otika was okay. The person that went, was already in Canada, at the border of Canada. My wife was bothered, but she was at the border. Now you get it right. My wife was bothered that she did not, but she was at the border trying to sort herself. And in my mind, and guess what? We found out in our children's school that they had moved. Why it was so painful was that a night before you traveled, you came to drop your soup. I think they came to drop. I think they didn't want to pay for electricity for that night. As to why should we pay for electricity in the house? They don't give us one story. I said the soup had issue and all the fridge had issue, and they left. And I actually addressed them, because for me, when they left, I think they left in December. By March, I told the bros, I said, bros, you got to where you got to. My wife spoke to his wife. I had to address it. I said, bros, you got to this place and you are settled in. There was nothing wrong in you telling us, oh, we didn't tell you we were traveling, but we are now where we are. It was just courtesy, because this is someone that in the middle of the night, 2 a.m., the son is sick. They call us. The man wasn't around, and I went to pick the children. I went to pick the boy, took him to the hospital, and to let you know how close we've been. But boom, you left.
What I want to say to that, sorry, to help, is that those people were embarking on a journey they had never been before. When you embark
they've been to Canada before. They've been to Canada. That's why I was shocked. They've been to Canada as visitors before. So I think, they've been to Canada. It's not their first time. They had their daughter in America. So for me, I was just shocked. I'm telling you, so that I addressed it, we still relate. Guess what? I still relate with them, and
I would say, please don't take, you see, those people probably belong to the school of thought that when you talk too much, we have a proverb in Nigeria that when you're young,
you cover it, yes. Yeah.
And there are reasons for that. When I was leaving Nigeria, I did the exact opposite to what those people did. I told the world, I went to my office, I said, guys, I got a job. And everybody seemed happy with me. But do you know that the company that processed my visa and my document, I didn't work for them for 1 day.
Wow.
And what I blame myself for is that I talk too much. So what I'm trying to say is that there are reasons. I saw when I got here. So there could be good reasons. I'm just saying, I understand what you're saying, the friends, but for some people, they've just learned to keep their mouth shut. Crossover first, and then talk.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay, so I don't know how I got there, but another thing is people have created. So for UK, you just need to get somebody to put money in your account for 1 month, and then you print out the account statement. It's going to be there for 28 days or for 30 days. You print out your account, and then you apply for your student visa, and then you'll be granted because they want to see that lump sum. For Canada, you have to put money in 6 months to print out your account statement for 6 months. So it means you would have been processing it, to see. So now there's a market for it to say you don't have money, and you'll be shocked, like you said, you don't have money to put. We know how much you earn in Nigeria. How do you process to get? Now, especially in the UK, there's a scheme called the health worker scheme or the health work, where that one too, you have to, people are paying. As of last week, I know somebody very close to me that somebody said they're going to help her. She needs 8 million.
Wow.
She needs 8 million. People are paying you ridiculous amounts, £4,000. Some of them will say, okay, you know what, you pay 5 million, you pay 3 million now. That when you get there, you get to the UK, you start paying monthly. People just want to live.
Wow,
people just want to live.
Really gotten there.
So there's a market for it, there's a finance for it. I was speaking to somebody yesterday. I said, if you have somebody that wants to finance, that wants to travel and don't have money, talk to me. The person tell me, SACO, I'm going to give you 50%, we'll share 50%. And man, I'm going to share it. I'm open. I'm going to share because people they don't have the capacity for that fund in their account. All right. So it's a market now. It's a market. Do you know that for you to get consultation for UK or for Canada, somebody called me few minutes before we started this from Nigeria and said they want to apply for students. The person here said they should pay $3,000.
Wow.
$3,000.
Wow.
$3,000 to find school. And this is something you can do by yourself. A lot of Nigerians do not know that you can actually find schools for yourself. Find the school, reach out to them, but because of the information that some people they hold it to themselves, and they just all the information and make you look as if they are doing a favor because you're still going to write the statement of purpose by yourself why you want to come to Canada. A lot of information. So it is well.
I think like we said, a lot of people are stuck at that lower level of physiological need. But so for me, I think the fundamental thing is that I'm a Christian, and I'm not just a Christian by word of mouth. I'm a Christian by, so because I did fall into, or I would have fallen into the same thing. My story is a bit long and I'll make it very short. My first career was IT. So I got a job in the US in 2001, and they processed what it was called a H-1B visa for me then. And I got it. But the point was that at the last leg, the company was bought over by another company who then changed their policy and said, we're not going to bring people on board. So when I got that information, I had the H-1B visa on my passport, but I couldn't enter the US. So I had it from 2001. That was even before I met my wife. But when I met my wife, one of the things I did was to test whether she really would love me even without, just to try and check, but when it was 2 years. The visa was for H-1B visa. It was to expire in June of 2003. So in May or April, I just said to myself, the temptation was, how can a US visa? Because then the US visa was a big deal. How can I just let this thing go? So I embarked on the journey of my life. I went to the UK. I had a wonderful time in the UK. I had a visa, but I knew that destiny was US. So I flew to the US. I went to a place called El Paso. El Paso is in Texas. It's on the border of US and Texas. It's the last country. So I got there. At the port of entry, he asked me, because what am I here for? I said, H1B. I told him, okay, where's the company? I said, I was just step aside. I asked him, does this mean I'll be deported? He said, no, just wait for that. I was there at that airport for 5 hours. Eventually, they let me in. So when I got into the country, I went to see my uncle, lived in El Paso, enjoyed time with him. My uncle was we were on the same page. Let's try and get you a job. My uncle even told me how you go to, he said, when you apply, don't tell them, do I have a job? Tell them, I'm just visiting and I have skills and I'm wondering if you have those, if you look, so it's more of positioning. He taught me all those things. But then there was this day we had a visit. My uncle was a minister, I was a pastor. We had a visit from a couple who are prophets. So they came to our house. And they started praying for each person. And the things we were saying were very encouraging. So the person they prayed for next before me was my uncle's stepdaughter. And when the woman placed her hand on that girl, she said, I see a green grass. And she began, when I heard her, I said, thank God, I'm in the right place. So I was the next in line. So she now placed her hand on me. And the first thing I heard her, she goes, I said, talk to me, Joe. So she now said, God says you are moving too fast for him. He has big plans for you, but you are moving too fast. The best decision you can take now is to return back to Nigeria. What? I opened my eye, I looked at her. She's a white lady. So I wanted to be sure, is she a racist who is trying to just conjure something because she doesn't like this black guy who's trying to make it in life? But the moment she said that, I reluctantly said, okay. I looked at my uncle, and my uncle too. It's like we were both calm. And from that time till the day I departed from the US, we just knew that, no, there's no way forward. So I went back to Nigeria and I told all my friends, you cannot go to the US, but I cannot go because God has spoken. For me, it's difficult to fight when I know I'm fighting against God. Some people have that energy, they have that live. I mean, I don't have it. Because I felt that this is what God said. And so I went back. I wasn't happy. I'm not saying I was happy, but I went home knowing that this was God's will. So I went home. That was 20. And then for the next years of my life, I was just there. What even made it more painful? Everybody I knew who had the same dream, it was like they were going. So I was like, God, you said me I should stay. Why are you allowing people left, right, left, right, left, right? Why are you allowing everybody to go? Well, just calm down, calm down. And then later on, God now led me to a passage in 2004, Isaiah 46, verse 11. Calling a ravenous bird from the east, the man that executes my counsel from a far country. God said, I have not changed I have a plan for you. It's just that you have to allow me. Later in that part, he says, I will do it. So I worked as a consultant for a number of years. Fast forward to 2016. True to God's words, he provided me with a job in Canada. And like I said, the company processed all my whatever, but the only problem was when it was time to go, they had a funny decision. So I left. So true to the words, he really brought me here in 2016. But the problem was that my eyes saw, the fact that I was God's will, I saw serious challenges. But now I want to bring the story. So I was here for 5 years. And like I've been sharing with you, after 5 years, I had an opportunity to go back to Nigeria in July, which is the story I was saying. And when I got to Nigeria, part of the problem was that as I faced challenges in because the fact that God said does not mean you will not go through challenge. So when I went to Nigeria, I wanted to ask the question, the critical question was, did I make the right decision by coming to this country in 2017? And the answer was a clear yes. Because I looked around me, even though I built a house in Nigeria, I only lived there maybe 1 year or 2 years. I went back and I said, no, this was the right decision. So when I came back to this country, God now led me and said, the town where I live, which is called Milton, I want you to evangelize and win souls for me. So my coming here has changed in terms of, I know I'm here not just to count the bridges. I'm here on a mission. And like I just told you, Genesis 26, the way Gera was to Isaac is the way Milton is to me, where I know I'm locked in to serve. But do you know why I went through this Sunday? Because I wanted to explain that the reason what people should look for. We have been talking, we say we have information. It's not information that makes us do what we're doing. I'll tell you what it is. Is what we have is understanding. At the lowest level of information is what we call assumption. And as you recall from Reverend Sam, Pastor Desta, he said the lowest level of knowledge is called assumption. Beyond assumption, you go to next step, which is data, where you have data points, data points, and then you use it. So some people hoard the data, like you say. Some people make the data available. Then you move to the next level, which is information. That means you're able to process particles of data together, and then you act. But even that does not guarantee victory. What guarantees victory is understanding. Knowing that what you are doing is the right thing and in line with God's will. That's what gives you victory. Do you know that the lack of understanding is what, for instance, if we go back to the Bible, to reference the Bible, in the Garden of Eden, God gave Adam an instruction. Eat of these fruits, eat of this tree, but don't eat of this one. And what did Adam do? He believed it and he passed that information to his wife. The wife had information, but she did not have understanding. That's why when the serpent came and told her, she spewed information. But the man said, you're not wise. God does not want you. She didn't have understanding of why she was doing what she did. And that's why she failed that exam. A lot of people today may have information, but they don't have the understanding of knowing that me, as I am, I'm an industry. I'm a city set upon a hill that cannot be hidden. Like SACO, I can be anywhere. It is not the environment that makes me. It is me that makes the environment. And when you have that understanding, you're no longer desperate to move. You are calm. You're just biding your time. You're not running like everybody because you realize that your life, your destiny is in God's hands. And that's what is missing. Whether in the church or outside. You know what I've discovered, sir? There's a trainer, I'm a consultant, so I train people. One of the things I train them is one of the best ways you can improve personal productivity is to understand who you are. You cannot give what you don't have. And I'll give you an example. Inside you can be white or black. And that is why you take a Caucasian who has been exposed to a developed environment, take him to the jungle of Africa. And within a short space of time, he begins to rearrange that environment to correlate with what is inside of him because he has a better understanding. But a man who lived in the jungle all his life, whose heart is dark, take the same person to a place where everything is beautiful. That person will reduce the environment to what is inside. So it's important that people have understanding so they can live. So I didn't mean to, I just wanted to drill in this point. Even if you come here, it does not mean you will succeed. That's what I'm trying to say. It's not the environment that makes you. It is the knowledge of who you are. And aligning yourself with God's will is what will ensure that wherever you are on the surface of this earth, everything.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yes, sir.
So I have to quickly run now because I just remember that other time. But for me, I totally agree. You must understand. In fact, I began to know this repositioning word from a man called Jimmy Tewe. You know, Mr. Jimmy Tewe. He's someone that I have great respect for.
Yeah. Worked in the same company for a period of time.
Oh yeah. So it's in the US, you know, and the platform he used was the O1 visa, and then he was sharing with me. I also, because of the thing that God has helped me to do, I can actually get a US, you know, a green card with that O1 visa, you know, but this platform is another, you know. So for me, it's information. It's realizing that when you are going to a place, you are going there to dominate. And there's no place you will go to that you cannot, you know, create a milestone and be a blessing. You know, don't just Japa. Don't just say, I don't want to leave this country because of insecurity. People are leaving. People are flying. Every time I'm flying into Nigeria, I'm seeing foreigners. You know, we have a different line for them. I'm seeing foreigners on the queue. Every white guys, Black Americans coming to invest. So the opportunities anywhere, and it's not only to Nigeria. Yes.
Before you go, SACO, let's just get here for close this now. Funmi, did you want to say something?
Okay, so I have the scripture that in 2016, you know, we have this thing about praying for visa. We pray for visa every time in Nigeria.
Okay.
So so then this scripture just dropped in my spirit. Somewhere in Psalms, I think Psalms chapter 2. The Bible says that I will give you nations for your inheritance and the hands of the earth for your possessions. That means that there's really no limit to where we can move to where we can migrate to where we can move to in all over the world. You understand? The earth is the Lord and the fullness thereof. So it means that there is no limit to what we can achieve as humans. So like you said, that understanding has to be there so that you don't even move to another country and you're enslaved by another man.
You cannot go outside where you have not gone inside. I think that's a fundamental thing. You cannot travel outside without first traveling inside. Is it travel?
And I'm holding on to that. I think SACO said it earlier. So once you have it in your mind, you have it in your hand. So that's another thing. So when you have that consciousness that God can give you nations for your inheritance and the ends of the earth for your possessions, it means that there is no limit, no boundaries, really, no boundaries. And again, of course, this will be another topic for another day. The environment is harsh. The Nigerian environment is harsh. People are angry. People just want to move. Why do they want to move? There are people that are not even comfortable. There are people that are living below, what do we call it? Yes.
Yes.
So people are hungry. We're just talking about bread. Some people can't even afford to buy this 1,000 naira bread. Some people live below 200 naira every day. What then do you want a family of 4 to do when a man is living under 50 or even 30,000? Some are even living under 30,000 naira per month. You know, so these are the things that we need to deal with as a nation. People need to understand that, see, there's a lot there's a lot for us to talk about, but then there are issues that we need to deal with as a nation.
Okay, thanks. It's nice to know that, you know, unfortunately we can't resolve this with just one session, but hopefully we've gotten people who are viewing this to have a thought about their lives and make an informed decision. What we say is that try and get information as much as possible. Don't just run. Don't just be on the bandwagon effect. Everybody's good. Well, let me go. No. And parents, don't put your children under undue pressure. There are some parents that are, hey, look at what, is it where your mates are? Is it where your mates are? Relax. Don't push your children to sin. Let's take time. Understand that life is not a random, you know, every decision, God, before any of us was created, God had a purpose and a plan for us. Try and listen to what it is that God is saying on your own particular. For some people, they will make it outside. Some people, like SACO is saying, inside that Nigeria, they will make it. You know, one of the things I realized, that's why I talked about the inside out. It is what is inside you. It's because you see darkness. That's why you can't see it around you. But if God gives you the grace, opens your eyes, you say, inside that same Nigeria, is Dangote not a human being with a one head and with 2 eyes like you? But the man is moving for outside the lago, Nigerian too. So it's not the environment. Yes, the environment may be harsh, but the environment is not infertile. Nigeria is a blessed land. It's just that we have challenges. So let's first deal with that. If God says you go out, no problem. But don't just run with your physical eyes, with your own senses. Make sure you are informed and you work with understanding. Don't just run like everybody is running. And those people who are condemning those who are traveling, it's very easy for you to sit and condemn. I don't condemn anybody. If somebody is operating on Maslow's hierarchies, number 1, just physiology, and the person is just like we were saying. You said $1 is $800, 800 naira. I mean, it's just pressure. So I don't blame those people. And one of the things that also pains me is that a lot of Nigerians focus on analyzing things on which they have no control. In many of the WhatsApp groups I am now, people sit down, they talk of BAT, obedient, article, BAT, obedient, article. Is that what's going to move you forward? Focus on resolving issues. We carry gossip, we carry story, we sensationalize, but it does not move us forward. What am I going to do about this situation? Don't leave your destiny into things that are beyond your control. Assume there's no government. You are the government. God has given me a ministry called Manifesting Him, and it's about, you know, manifesting Jesus. Romans 8:19. The earnest expectation of the creature awaits the manifestation of the sons of God. So my own philosophy is I don't wait until government. If there's a government, fine, I partner with government. If there's no government, I am the government. The change I'm looking for outside begins with me. That's my philosophy. And it's very important that we make up. You only live once, so you only live once. And it's not how much information you can know the Bible from beginning. If you're not able to translate it to understanding, you just be running and running and running. And there'll be no difference between the one who sleeps in church and the one who doesn't go to church, because everybody is acting, that is reacting rather. And that's why I see Japa as a form of reaction to a common challenge, which is there's fire. Let's see how who can, like a ship that is sinking, and yet people are flying in every day. What you are throwing away, people are flying and they are taking it for nothing. May we not run away from where the destiny. Everybody has, God has a plan for every one of us, and my prayer is that we will be where God has positioned us. I'll just give you guys the last word. For SACO, one last word. If you also say, and then for me, and then we can close.
Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. You basically just confirmed, and confirmed all that I said. Just have that mindset that there's no country you want to go to. No matter what happens, you are safe in any country that you belong, and believe that you are a global brand. You are not a local brand. Yes, you have the opportunity to go to any country you are. You are not your assignment. You might start in Nigeria, but you are wanted in any country. I know that. I believe that. Yes, it will always come to your mind. Are you even qualified to be that? You'll be shocked what you carry. So for me, I just want to encourage people, if you want to move the right way, and believe that anywhere you go to, you take authority of that place. It favors you. Things will not. Yeah, yeah. Just believe in yourself, and then it can happen. You are a global brand for me. Yeah, I think I'll just stop. We've said enough. Let's allow them, digest the things you've said.
Is there anything you're doing soon that people should watch out for? Do you have is there anything that you want to tell us about?
Okay, so I'm having my show. I'm having my concert on the 13th of February, on the 13th of February, 2023. I think that's second Sunday in February. And then more, like I said, it's more of teaching, gathering, looking out for people. In fact, before proteges go look out for mentors, but now I look out for some guys that I think that have the prospect, that are not being guided, and then I reach out to them and teach them. First, I show them my testimony, because sometimes the Gen Zs of this world believe that if you're not everywhere, you're not relevant. They feel that you have to be. They don't understand that you know your particular assignment. I do clean jokes, and I've enjoyed. You know how you're doing clean jokes and you're doing your jokes, and you're not thinking of, oh, what if I mess up? That's why I surround myself with the things I hear, 3 things that interests me, what I listen to, the friends I keep, and what I see. So I'm checking the right thing, I'm listening to the right thing. So I'm looking out for people that God can help me to. And that's why I'm putting out my YouTube. I put out videos on my testimonies on how you can be very effective as a compare on YouTube, called SACO. It's called the timeout.
Yes. It's on Instagram too, isn't it? I think I see it.
Yes. It's on this. The timeout. It's on Instagram, but it's majorly on my YouTube channel. It's called the Timeout with SACO, where I teach people on how to anchor weddings, how to do these. I just teach them on how they can be effective, even if it's their first time. And you'll be shocked. I have proteges in Australia, proteges in Canada, in America, different, that I've not even had the opportunity of meeting. So that for me, it's called the Strategic Mentorship Program that I established in 2018, January, and it has influenced a lot of people. Yeah.
That's good. Keep it up, man.
Thank you, boss. Thank you. Thank you.
Funmi, how about you?
Okay, this scripture keeps coming. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding in all your ways, including the move that someone may be trying to make right now. Acknowledge God's presence. Pray before you make the move. Pray before you make your decision, really. So with that, it makes all things beautiful in its time. It makes all things beautiful for you, for your family, for over your career, over whatever it is that you may be trusting God for. I think that's major. The God factor is very key. You don't move because people are moving. A lot of people have been influenced by what others are doing. So you need to be sure that God is leading you to make certain moves, and that's very important.
Okay, thanks for me. In passing, I'd just like to say, first of all, thank you to whoever it is that is watching this. One of the first things I want you to do is to be grateful that you are alive. You can only act when you are alive. The second thing I want to say is that a man called Mensa Otabil, who's a pastor in Ghana, said something that has stuck with me ever since. He said, a major difference between us human beings and animals is that animals only respond by instinct. And that's why an animal does the same thing again and again based on the results. Again and again, 10 years, they're still doing the same repeating response to every action. But that the major difference with us human beings is we have the opportunity to look at the situation, get information, and change our response or our behavior. That's why there's hope. And that's why we are able to develop as opposed to the animals which are on the same. So what am I trying to say? Before you watched this session, you probably had a particular way in which you are running. But after hearing this, if you need to listen to this again and again, there's something that has been said here. And I want to summarize for you. One is the information you are exposing yourself to is very important. It's not the desperation of the environment that should make you act. It is how can I respond appropriately to the situation. There's a man called Stephen R. Covey. He wrote a book called The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. One of the fundamental things he said in that book is that between what happens to us and our response is a small space where we actually make a decision. Your decision is best when it is influenced by the right source of information. And the best thing you can know about it is what God himself, the one who created you, says. And one of the things he says that your future is in his hands. His thoughts towards you are thoughts of peace and not of evil, to bring that to an experience. So the person who probably started watching, they have left me. They have not left you. Relax. Relax. Somebody has left you. You are measuring your time by another person's life. Let them go. You want to let them go. And the parent that is putting pressure, relax. At least you are alive. Relax. That's the first thing. Calm down. And then listen to what God is saying. God is speaking to you even now. For some people, the solution is out there. For other people, it is there in the country where you are. It may not even be Nigeria. Maybe it's not Nigerians that are watching this, but maybe you have a similar experience to what we're saying. Relax and tune into God's frequency. Some of you are probably angry with God. Relax. You are not the first person to be angry with God. Me that I'm talking, I've been angry. I thought God left me for years. God, everybody is going. Everybody is going. Yeah. Relax. Because it's time. Your time is in his hands. God has a good plan for you. Be at peace with him. Make him your priority. As strange as it sounds, make him your priority. I know one thing, we made reference to Pastor Sam Adeyemi a lot today. One of the things he said, I said it when I first joined, just one thing he learned is, no matter how long you have run on the wrong road, it will not make it the right road until you turn. So you need to turn, my friend. Turn and make changes. I've gone so far. I've gone so far. Until you turn, the further you go, the worse off it is. I don't have a choice. Continue running. But if you want solution, not pity. Sorry. So if you want solution, turn and acknowledge you are going about it the wrong way. Then settle down and let God help you. The first thing is that you will just realize, okay, relax. God, I'm ready. And in the moment of quietness, as you study the word of God, he will speak to you. You're not the first person to go through this, though, but God will help you. God is in the business of helping people to transform their lives. There's a passage that I read recently, I think it's Job chapter 22. Go and get it out. Job 22. It says, acquaint yourself with him and be at peace. Thereby good will come to you. If you read that passage on, at the end it says, when others say there is a casting down, you will say there is a lifting up. Why? Because your access information is different from what every other person is hearing. He says somewhere in Isaiah, he says, arise and shine, for your light has come. He says, gross darkness will cover the earth, but upon you there will be light. You see, the situation that makes it dark is your own finest opportunity to prove that you are truly a child of God. He said, we're a city set upon a hill that cannot be hidden. There cannot be hidden. But what makes us shine is not running around, it is running to him. And when we run to him, he provides a light that enables us to stand. Your best days are not behind you, they are ahead of you. Believe it. God has the best of intentions. You don't have to be SACO. SACO is a wonderful comedian. You don't have to be SACO. You don't have to be Funmi. Funmi sings very well. In fact, I was hoping we would get her to sing, but there's no time. I don't sing. I don't do comedy, but I'm who I am. So what am I trying to say? Stay in your lane. You don't need to be another person for God to help you. Stay in your lane. And where you are, moment you begin to look at what you have, then God will help. You know what the Bible says? It says the communication of your faith becomes effective when you first acknowledge the good things in you. That's in Philemon chapter 6, verse 6. If you think there's nothing good, then there will be nothing good. Or do you first say, no, I came with something, then begin to locate it. That's when God says, hey, my son, my daughter, you have things. It's not by prostitution. It's not by selling your body. It's not by carrying cocaine, carrying drugs. No, I have put something between your two heads, your two ears, and God will help you. For some of you, it may go through a process of sanctification, of restoration. Maybe you have on hard drugs and you've lost your, God will work with you. You just need to be patient. Thank you for the opportunity to have this time with you. I want to suggest, don't just listen to this once. Listen to this until you get the message. And your life will never remain the same. I want to thank my friends SACO and Funmi. Those people are flying by God's grace, by God's mercy. And I pray that someday it will be your own story too. Have a beautiful day and thank you for the time. I thank my friends. And here is where we stop. My name is Emmanuel Babatunde Adebola. You can reach I'm called Tunde Adebola, I'm called Emmanuel, depending on which part of the world you are. But I'm simply a person who's like you, who has discovered that life, I will make it, not by cutting corners, but by trusting God. I pray God will help you. See you at the top. Bye for now.